Good morning and happy Monday to everybody out there. We apologize for a little bit of the delay. As you know, it's a technical world out there, and we are just old people. But we're welcome. We are live now. It is Monday. We're going to talk a little Masters. We got NBA action for you. Baseball season's kicking off. All is right in the world, and it is starting to rain in Florida. So we can look back and say, giddy up. Jeffrey, how are we doing today? Yeah, it's supposed to rain all day today, too.
Is it really?
It is.
Those are such vibes, dude. Like, I love rain days some days. Like, as long as I don't have golf planned or anything like that. But we also need the rain so bad. It's been a drought out here in Florida, which is tough to believe, but it is true. We really definitely need the rain, so it's good to see that it's coming through. They say April showers bring May flowers. So here's where we are.
I don't think that applies to Florida. I think, Florida just rains all the time.
Well, it hasn't been raining.
It has not. To your point about golf, it's literally too hot to play golf now. We've gone from the wonderful.
For some people.
Yes, for me. Well, I retired anyway. But if I was going, it's just way too hot to the point where I have to get up like around 6:30, 7 o'clock, basically when the sun gets up, to walk the dogs, because by 9 o'clock it's too hot for them to be out there.
It felt good this morning. I got up this morning. Wife had a little daughter's appointment. We did a little ultrasound, little 3D thing. See the baby moving around. Went, detailed my car. Got that taken care of, knocked out for the day. So it's been a productive morning already, and now here we are, ready to kick this off and talk some sports with my good friend Tyson Thomas. How was your Easter Sunday?
You already washed your car this morning?
Yeah, inside and out, bro.
Wow.
Detailed.
Wow. That was good. I glued up. Unfortunately, the missus had some things going on, but we glued up to the TV. Had all 4 TVs going, every single hole of Masters coverage that I could possibly ingest over the last 3 days. It was just a great weekend to completely sit on the couch and veg out for the entire weekend. It was great. I ended up picking up a pizza. I did take your advice. I didn't go over to my best friend Papa John's. I went up to what was it, Stromboli?
Stromboli's.
Yeah, I went over there. It was pretty good pie. It's pretty good pie.
I like the Paisanos. Paisanos pretty fire too.
It's still $60, man. I got but I did get a few things though. I got
$60.
Yeah, I got a large pizza. I got
$24. Large pizza.
I got an Italian grinder type sandwich, a cold sandwich, because I had that for the next day. Easy, boy, easy. And then you
said grinder, not me, homie.
That's what the sandwich is called, bro. I can't help it that somebody made an app out of it.
The Italian grinder. I'm not sure that's exactly what the sandwich is called.
It is.
Go ahead, please.
And then I got I did pick out on some dessert. I had the peanut butter pie, and then I also got the cannolis.
Cannolis are good.
Yeah, but that was.
Cannolis are good. They're homemade.
You know what I also don't understand. So that was like $65, but it was with a tip. Now let me
That
ask.
was with tip.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, right? And
Yeah.
we're into this point. We're in the service industry, or at least I retired. It was many years in there. But
Very active.
it's to the point now where if you pay pretty much by credit card, every place asks you for a tip. Like regardless of what it is, like there's a place next to me called Clean Eats, right? It has prepared meals, like they're nice, $7. You just go to the freezer, grab it, and you hand it to the person to ring it up. Before you go out, it asks you if you want a tip. And I'm just like, so then like on this one, right? So I end up getting all of this food or whatever, and the tip ends up being like $10. And then as I'm leaving, driving home, because I have my own pizza bag. That's how seriously I take this. I have my own heated pizza bag to keep my entrees completely crisp, just like they came out of the oven. And as I'm driving, I'm like, what did they do to deserve a tip? Like to me, there's a difference between, but then I also tip on to-go food. Like, but that, I don't know, man.
Same thing. You just tipped on to-go food. That's all you did was tip on to-go food. But these people are family owned and operated and run by a dad cooking the pies in the back, and the
he was there. He was there.
Running the cash register out front. And so I always feel like those places, they have my heart forever. You know what I mean? Because I understand and I love it, and it just, I have all the respect in the world for those people. And I guarantee you, they make everything they do with love. That's the one thing I love about them. They saved me one time too. I cheated. I'll go on a quick little dissertation, but we had a pizza night where all of our friends got together and we all made pizzas and we judged who the best pizza was. Well, I called Stromboli's. I said, "Yo, you got any dough?" She was absolutely, and I got it cheaper than Publix. Come through, picked up the dough from Stromboli's, stretched it out. Boom, good to go. Won the pizza contest, hands down. Not even a question asked. So I love places like that. I think we've gotten to a culture nowadays. It's very tough, and there's been a lot of backlash on tipping lately as well too. Because when you look at other countries and you look at the way other people do things, they're paid a living wage, and then they usually get tipped about 10%. Here in the States, it's a little bit different. You're talking, we basically get zero, and we make whatever we make. Now my thing is like I'm a waiter and I work at a fine dining restaurant, right? An amazing spot. Listen, I'm very blessed. I'm very well able to take care of my family and everything like that by the tips that I am paid off of people. But if you're going to tell me that the experience that I give you in a 2.5-hour dining setting is 20%, right? About 20%, maybe if somebody's very generous, 25%. Now, when I go to Subway and I want to order a sandwich, and the guy is building my sandwich, and then at the end it says, "Do you want to tip your sandwich artist 20, 25, or 30%?" Well, now I have a little bit of a problem. You know what I mean? Because
that's kind of what I was getting at.
All,
like,
and like I'm prompted to do it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And what I have to do for 2.5 hours is to make sure everything is flawless for you. Make sure you're welcomed. Make sure you feel a sense of like warmth and that you want to come back.
It's an event. When you go out like that and sit down, it's an event. You're going out for a special occasion. You're going to out do something that you normally don't do, and you want to be pampered, right?
Exactly, but there's no pampering when it comes to this, right?
No.
You are quick service, and we have jumped the shark completely to the point now where we don't incentivize. We don't. Not to get into it too deeply, but the incentivization of employment has become so low that now it's just like an added-on thing that they try to add on to everything to see if they can milk more money out of people without having to pay them, or give them a good living wage, or pay them health insurance benefits, or 401ks, or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna blow your mind real quick with this. I'm gonna blow your mind with this whole thing. Real quick, and then we're gonna dive into some stuff here.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. First of all, like when it comes to prompt like that, 20% is the first thing that comes up, and I'm like, well, okay, 20%. Like you really didn't do anything. Okay, you really just fulfilled my order. You didn't.
Yeah.
I did all my order online. You didn't have to take my order. You know what I'm saying? If it gets messed up, it's my fault. All right. But let me just blow your mind real quick. So when all of this stuff started to come about, it started to come about with a company called Square, right? With the little iPads and the mobile thing, and it flipped it over, right? Now, the reason why they're doing this, okay, is how does Square make money? They make
processing fees off every transaction.
Off every transaction that's at every dollar amount. So if they can jack up the transaction by 20%, they're making more money. And, when it comes into a whole cash fiat system that we're talking about, and the reason why they're trying to get rid of cash is you think about this, $100 bill gets passed around how many times? right? And there's no fees involved with that. There's no 5% transaction credit card fees. There's no processing fees, anything of this. But yet, when you use that $100 on your credit card, and everybody got $100 on a credit card, everybody else makes money off this, off an imaginary thing, right?
Yeah.
They get 5% straight to the credit cards. You get 2.5% to the processing company. You got another probably 1% that goes for the equipment. It's just, I'm telling you, watch out for these guys.
Well, but what I'm saying is, like, that was always the romanticism of Bitcoin, right? Like, that was the idea that you would have this free society and free market where things could be shared and traded and given back and forth without the government taxing it. The reason I've always had a problem is because our government are the biggest gangsters in the world. They are the biggest mafia that is running the entire world. They put taxation on everything they can. And so until they can legitimately tax Bitcoin the way that they want to off of every transaction that you make, I just always felt like Bitcoin was going to have an uphill battle when it comes to that in terms of cryptocurrency and stuff.
Well, let me tell you, somebody that holds Bitcoin,
gaming tokens and stuff like that is,
as someone that holds Bitcoin, they absolutely tax it every year.
Well, but only if you withdraw it, correct?
Nah.
They try only off it. They try it gains, but only if you cash it out, right?
Not necessarily. If you move it from a different wallet to a different wallet, they want you to pay taxes on that as well, even though you've never received the money. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into some conspiracy type stuff another day. Let's talk about the Masters. What a weekend we saw. What a great round of golf. The weather did play a little bit of factor, but not what we really thought. Sure. The pretty much overall consensus between everybody that I've seen via social media, everything, this TV coverage was absolutely dismal. It was bad. We had Colt Knost and some other guys on there. Unfortunately, I didn't get to listen to some of the other ones. I heard the Amen Corner commentators were actually pretty good, but I would assume that the main feed would be your best commentators. It was like paint dry. It was so bad. It really made me appreciate when Jim Nantz came on at 2:00 and 3:00 respectively, that we actually had some good commentary and some backstories. So some little, jabs here and there. I did think, though, however, the coverage versus the PGA and LIV, which is what everybody was wanting to see on this, how would the LIV players perform? How would the PGA perform with the LIV players? I was very impressed by the coverage in regards to both tours. Now, early on, there was a lot of controversy, like, well, who's this, who's that? As far as feature groups, I know we didn't get to see Brooksy and Jon Rahm as the feature group on one of the days. But, kind of like as I was saying, I think that has to do with TV contracts, and it has to do with CBS Sports, because CBS Sports is going to show the majority of the coverage of those guys. And, it just... Again, we're at the Masters, and I know it's Masters and their outdated TV coverage policies and their grip to hold on to everything and control power. But let's go, guys. It's 2023. You guys are all sharing the same cameras, the same camera feeds. It's just a matter of who has the input and who doesn't. Let's get it right. I mean, come on. This is what we all want. We want to see T-to-T coverage. We want to see any group that we want to be able to watch. It's time. If we can put a race car driver, an F1 car going 240 miles an hour and a pinhole camera on the driver's helmet, I think we can make this happen in the Masters. I know you didn't get to watch a whole lot of it with the Easter brunch and things that are going on, but what was your overall reaction in regard to the TV coverage that you saw?
Yeah, so normally I didn't get to see a lot on Sunday, which Sunday was a huge day to be able to watch. And fortunately for us on Sunday, right, you did have CBS pretty much all day with the coverage. So you had a small little break there, I believe. Well, they opened up at 8:30, right, when they first teed off.
That was ESPN. It was all streaming.
No, it was on CBS at 8 a.m.
Oh, I apologize. They did the 8:30 to like 11 o'clock, and then they cut off till 2 o'clock.
They cut off and then came back at 2. So at least you got a little bit of that. I found myself at times watching it when it was Thursday and Friday, and even Saturday morning a little bit, I guess. But when I was watching it, I just straight up turned it off. I was like, I'm just going to wait for the regular coverage to come out. I do like Colt Knost, and I think he provides a certain element to the game of being a player and knowing the guys, and he gives background stories and stuff about, gambling matches and different stuff they have and how well he knows the guys and good stories like that. I don't know who the other person was who was doing the headlining and doing most of the play-by-play as opposed to the analysis, but I was having a tough time with it, and so instead of getting frustrated at it, I said, you know what, I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to sit back, I'm going to relax. But what an amazing tournament it was. I did think, so from what I saw, that the coverage, and everybody was like, oh, well, they didn't give the proper LIV coverage. I've seen a few people say that, and it's like the LIV players weren't in it You know, listen, Koepka played great round one, but we didn't know if Koepka was going to come out and ball out like that. So you can't really judge Thursday's card off of who they were going to take because we haven't seen these guys play competitive rounds in forever. So I did think they did a good job of reacting to it and being able to feature the guys that were playing well. But yeah, that was weird not to have Rahm and Koepka on a feature group at one point, and that's why I was just like, okay, I'm done. Listen, John Rahm, hats off to him, right? Guy 4 putts the first hole. I don't know if you saw the story behind Zach Ertz that happened with him as well too. I guess they're on a group text. It's Zach Ertz, it's J.J. Watt, and John Rahm. They're all together on a group text, and Zach Ertz texts John Rahm 10 minutes before he goes out to the first hole and says, "Oh man, that first green's looking right for the taking, John. Go get him this week, buddy." Comes out in 4 putts. So incredible. I thought it was incredible. If you look at it too, like Rahm wins, and his idol growing up was Seve Ballesteros, right? One of his favorite people, who one of the reasons that he played golf, and for him to win it on Seve's what would have been Seve's 66th birthday on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, at the Masters. What an incredible story, an incredible moment. Just very, very happy for John Rahm and the entire Rahm family as well too. I did see Jose Maria Olazabal over there talking to Rahm's wife as well at the very end, which I thought was a cool moment. You know, Spaniards definitely sticking together, and just I loved everything about it.
Yeah, so let's dig into the good here. So yeah, so as you talked about, it was 4-9, which was Seve's birthday. His John Rahm's caddy got 49. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know, and supposedly that just goes on the order that they got there. But the fact that Sunday was 4-9, Seve's birthday was 4-9, his caddy got 4-9. It's one of those things where the glitch in the Matrix is trying to show you all of the signs if you just want to look at it. But yes, that was an absolute monster of flags to see. And hats off to John Rahm. You know, coming out and 4-putting the first hole, I do believe our good friend Ian said he will bounce back from that. But, you know, we had to wonder, are we going to see the same thing that we saw at Bay Hill, where, you know, we had the flashes and then all of a sudden he just faded away. He didn't fade away this time. He continued to plug away and then put himself in the position. Unfortunately, I do feel, though, Brooksy lost this tournament versus John Rahm winning it. And I know that's a pretty bold statement. I know that John did what he needed to do in order to win the tournament. But let's be honest, Brooks Koepka was on an absolute tear. 13 under through at the first 2 rounds. He was 13 under through the first 2 rounds, finished the last 2 rounds, both over par, to end up in a tie for second at 8 under. Give him back 5 shots within those 2 days. And he also didn't really face the weather that anybody else faced. And it was just weird that, you know, you saw him coming out Saturday and then the last round Sunday. And, you know, going into Sunday, you know, he just didn't look like he had it. He looked like that deflated Brooksy that we saw towards the end before the PGA Tour, before he left. As a good friend once told me in episode 2 of Full Swing, where we got into the nuts and bolts of why, you know, Brooks kind of felt that way. But yes, I felt like for whatever reason, Brooks wasn't there on Sunday. And of course, a lot of the LIV haters are going to come out and point out what? Well, that's because LIV only plays 54 holes and not 72 now. I don't think that necessarily had anything to do with it. I do think something happened, though, mentally, whether it was a missed shot, because we all know if you're not, I mean, you got to be so mentally tough to play golf. You know, you have to put the bad shots behind you. You have to forget about it in order to move on to the next one, which is one of the things I really love about match play, is that makes it so much easier to do that. But I just felt like there was something that happened that clicked there. That just, you saw the lost confidence. The first 2 days, he had the strut. He just looked confident. He was hitting whatever shot he wanted to. He's placing the ball perfectly. And then you got into, you know, the Saturday, Sunday. Something changed. I don't know what it was, but I really felt like he lost the golf tournament versus John Rahm winning. And again, that's to take nothing away from John Rahm. He played a great 4 rounds, did what he had to do to win it. But I'm still just sitting here scratching my head of what happened. I mean, you went 60, what was it?
And we can say this too, right? Like there's a certain rhythm aspect of it as well, right? He had a large gap in between when he finished the second round, right? He finished the second round Friday morning. And then he goes to go out to play Saturday, and it's the, you know, what we saw, what Saturday was. His tee time gets pushed way back. He finally gets out there. It's terrible weather. They only get a few holes in, and then boom, now you're off. Come back Sunday morning. So there is that gap. You know, we always say you play best in golf normally when you have a really good rhythm behind you, right? When you're playing with, one or two people in your group, you're not waiting on shots, you're rolling up, you're swinging, you got confidence, there's a certain flow, certain rhythm to it. And even if you look at Sunday, right? Going back to Sunday, he had no rhythm on Sunday. They talked about how long it was for them to be able to hit shots in between him because of the groups that were in front of him. And Brooks loves to play fast. If you remember the first controversy that he had back when it was with Bryson DeChambeau, who played absolutely terrible, by the way, this tournament. But the first controversy was because Bryson just took so long to line up putts, to make decisions, to run through all the analytics in his head, and he hated it. He needs the rhythm. You want to play fast. You want to keep moving. You want to, keep it all up. And, unfortunately, I feel like he lost that, unfortunately, on Sunday, which is unfortunate.
I would 100% agree. And, and speaking to you, appreciate, John Rahm's the same way, that likes to play fast.
Play fast.
It seemed to me like, he took some mental breaks, as, they said that he went to the bathroom 7 times throughout the course. So maybe that was him giving him some mental breaks in there, right? To just not stand there and be bored.
Stand there and stare. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because there's nothing worse than a long round of golf. There's just nothing worse. If you think it's bad as a spectator to watch a long round of golf, let me tell you, a 5.5 hour round is extremely painful. Extremely painful.
Especially when you're married. That is the worst one. 5.5 hours out there, and your wife.
They don't believe you.
3 hours in, and I'm telling you right now, there are 7 dudes standing on this green. I cannot do anything right now, man. I'm so sorry.
So one of the best highlights out of here for me was one of my dark horse picks was Phil Mickelson turning back Father Time and putting up a minus 765 on Sunday, one of his lowest rounds of his career, lowest round by a player of his age, and he was just throwing darts. I know that everybody is going to look back at this tournament and think about the shots that they could have had, but that 75 that he shot on Thursday, or I'm sorry, on Saturday, what would have been Saturday, but again, that was the rainy day. He did drop one. I think actually he dropped one in round 2 in the lake on 16 that cost him a couple. He had a couple just straight shots, but man, it was so good to see him back there. He like I said, he made a comment, and he was getting roasted for it. I don't know exactly where he made the comment, and it just occurred to me that he said, I'm feeling great. I'm about to go on fire. And everybody's like, oh, haha. Because at this point, he was 1 under, right? He was 1 under, 10 shots back. And all of a sudden, he just started dialing in. When you see those Ray-Bans, right? You can kind of see his eyeballs through it. He was just laser focused all day Sunday. Kudos to him as far as that round. And what a grouping, huh? Jordan Spieth right alongside of him shooting 66. These two guys were the lowest Sunday, 13 under. Jordan Spieth, again, just charged away. I know that he's going to look back because we saw some of the horrendous shots that Jordan Spieth was. And there was a lot of group chat on the text. One of us, we got to see a lot of these good pro players, right, that hit these shots that were like, yeah, I've done that. All right.
Yeah, no, it was good, especially two guys who have always been rooted for in the game of golf. I feel like are, whatever you feel about Liv, listen, if you're surprised that Liv played well, you shouldn't be, right? Liv has the best players that money can buy, literally, so keep that in mind, for all the people who hate Liv too, it's like, dude, like, you're talking about, oh, Brooks fell off because they only play, 54 holes or whatever. Well, look at Phil, right? Look at Phil at 53 years old, going out and shooting 65, his lowest final round ever in the history of the Masters. So that narrative is going to have to go out the way. Patrick Reed played very well as well too. If we're going to talk about Liv, Cam Smith showed up, played well. Joaquin Niemann showed up and played well. I mean, they had a great showing, and I think it's great going forward because it's only going to add to it. And I love that there was no pettiness, right? That we didn't
see. Yeah.
Well, but even Cam Smith, right? He said he came out and he walked onto the range and he was very anxious because he didn't know what was going to happen. And
he also made comments though, right? Like he was one of the ones that made some comments going into it. So I mean, obviously, I would think that the same thing. I would probably be wondering. It's one of those things where, yeah, I said it. Freddie. Freddie was watching for Phil, right? That after the comments that he made, and they got to spend all 4.
Freddie too, man.
And they got to spend all 4 rounds together. And Phil found Freddie at the end of that 4th round. He did.
Well, it was
Yeah.
very funny too because they said Phil just kind of sat there for the champions dinner on Wednesday. He just sat at the end of the table, didn't really talk to anybody or share any stories. He was very reserved, very closed off. And so hopefully this is just kind of a, let's just get past it. Let them do their thing. We're gonna see them 4 times a year. Unfortunately, they have to figure out the world golf ranking systems and how
Yes.
that is going to intertwine between everything, because for right now it's not fair.
It doesn't make sense. Like you're talking about,
Yeah.
these three are the top 5 of the worlds. Well, you leave out a Koepka, or you leave out, a Patrick Reed or Cam Smith or something. Like, we all know that those players are slotted in there somewhere. Exactly right. You have to figure it out. That's on them to figure out, because I'm sure that that's a lot of math, right? And how are you going to weigh a live tournament? Some of the formats that they play, I don't know, but
I wouldn't mind them just picking and choosing out of the 4. Like, you take the 4 majors, right, that everybody plays. You take those, how they finish in those majors, and then maybe you designate some elevated events, and that's the conglomerate of the world golf ranking, not just whatever's done on the PGA Tour and the world golf stage.
Yeah,
I don't know.
As we said, we did touch on it. We talked a little bit about Freddie. In my first round, I said he always comes out firing. Will his back actually made it? His back made it. Shout out to Freddie using the yellow ball out there. Him and I can't remember who the other guy was. Crap. But there was 2 of them.
Bernard Longer does too. Doesn't Bernard Longer use the yellow ball as well, maybe?
I can't remember who it was, but they use it as well. And then, capping off a little bit of the good, we had Sam Bennett out there, who was an amateur that shot amazingly well for an amateur, which making the cut as an amateur at the Masters is absolutely one thing. But to be able to finish 2 under, right? I think it's 2 under, right? 68-68 to come out and start. That's just lights out. And I think that goes, we talked a little bit about, just not knowing the course, right? Like, just not being scared. I mean, you have nothing to lose at that point, but there's still the butterflies. I was very, very, I guess surprised, by his resolve and the fact that he didn't have it, didn't have those big mistakes. And then, of course, he has to say something. So in the press conference, he says something to the nature of, and Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you have the exact quote, that basically this course isn't very tough. He doesn't see what the big thing, his course back home in Austin is tougher. And of course, guys, I mean, this is why you need a media coach if you're going to be on this stage. You cannot talk that way about the sacred Augusta National and get away with it. Mm-hmm. And they came for him. Absolutely, they came for him. He went from Cinderella to the Wicked Witch of the Wicked Sisters and everybody. But still a great story. He ended up finishing, like I said, 2 under. He had a couple of what was it here? The 76 and 74. He got into a little bit of those Sunday pin placements. But I will say as well that this course, especially Sunday when the rain cleared, the course still didn't play as tough as it normally does because it was so wet. Balls were sticking. You saw balls on 15 that would have rolled back in the water, staying up. You saw some movement on 16 as well. But definitely a shout out to him there, and what a great finish by an amateur.
Yeah, look, just the moxie and the schputz that he showed to go out there and just shoot that round and finish the way that he did, I thought was absolutely fantastic. It is funny. I was hearing some things they were saying, man, like Sam Bennett walks off of 17 and he's walking to the 18th tee and they're chanting his name at the Masters, right? They go, and as soon as he finishes this hole, he's going to go back to Texas A&M and play a golf tournament next week where he carries his own bag.
I think they said he had they had a tournament today, Monday. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. So today he turns around and goes and has to go play in a golf tournament where he's going to carry his own sticks, his own clubs, and that's it, man. The slipper's off, midnight has struck, it's over. You gotta just, bear it. But
this was his exact quote here. I mean, Ridgewood was harder than this place. I'll tell you that. In some of the other courses I played, I mean, I think the amateur golf has definitely prepared me to succeed on the stage. I will give you the amateur golf as far as winning, the U.S. Amateur. Absolutely, that's going to give you the.
Yeah.
But just, bro, just a little piece of advice moving forward. Just don't ever disrespect Augusta. Just don't.
Oh, 100%. Don't do that. And it's funny. We got off brunch yesterday, and me and my good friend and coworker Ian Zeese went to just the only place that was open to try to get a quick pint, and be able to watch the last 5 or 6 holes. And there were some guys who were sitting behind us, and they were from across the pond in the UK. They're here for a couple weeks, and they are playing some golf. But the guys, like, I'm a little bit older now, 74, got arthritis, unfortunately, can't play. And we started talking. I was like, listen, it's funny because the Masters is our favorite major. And I go, obviously for you guys, it's probably the Open. And son goes, stop. He goes, there is nothing like Augusta National. He goes, you cannot compare that to anywhere else. He goes, the fact that that's a major, it gets played every single year, the history, the shadows, like the everything, the lore that goes into it. He goes, you will never hear me talk about another major like I talk about. Not even St. Andrews, not the Open, not anything. It does not matter. The Masters is the pinnacle. And that is internationally. That is not just for you guys here across the pond. We had a couple shots, couple beers with the boys, and then they went on to go play some pool. But it's always good to talk to people outside of your country and kind of get feedback on and reaffirm what you think as well too. But yeah, good for Mr. Bennett playing well. Great for him. Great tournament. I thought it was a great cap on it as well. The storylines that you get, the leaderboards that we had, the guys that were there at the top, the LIV, the PGA, the amateurs. The Tiger drama, just all of it wrapped up into one is just,
Absolutely. We kind of talked about the good here. Let's get into the bad. Let's talk about some big names that didn't make the cut. We have Mr. Par 67 himself, Bryson DeChambeau, that actually just non-existent. We have Rory.
Say DeChambeau?
I did. I did.
Fraudulent slip right there.
Autocorrect. My bad. We have Rory once again that after his great performance last year just didn't show up this year. I know
next year he'll come in first or second.
I know you were fading him pretty good. Sergio Garcia that normally plays well at the Masters against 74-77. One of my biggest ones that was Bubba Watson. Bubba Watson just played absolutely garbage. And I was saw something the other day that he was wearing a $2.5 million watch. While he was playing, by the way. So shout out to
Bubba's gone.
Shout out, I guess. Bubba's got some other priorities now. Apparently,
is not here anymore.
And probably one of the biggest ones that we saw that got the I don't know if you want to call it a bad shake of the stick, because there definitely was, but Justin Thomas, who had put himself in a great place and went out there in that muck on Saturday and just, I think he played last five over, like the last 6 holes or something of that nature, to miss the cut.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, there was a lot of people.
There was a slight controversy, right? I don't know if you were about to say that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, well, there was a slight controversy saying that Justin Thomas knew what the number was that Tiger Woods needed to be able to make the cut. Tiger finished 1 hole ahead of JT. He comes in, posts his number, and then JT steps up to 18 and says, I'm not winning this golf tournament. And there's a conspiracy theory that JT snaps his drive as far left as possible, which he does off the tee, and then continues to go. And I think he doubled the hole. I believe he doubled 18 on his last one to
he bogeyed.
He bogeyed. Okay, so he bogeyed it, which officially allowed Tiger Woods to make the cut and tie for the most consecutive cuts ever made at the Masters at 23, I believe, is the number, 23 or 24, one of the two. And so there was a conspiracy theory behind that. I will say, personally, I do not think that Justin Thomas is, no matter how good a friend he is with Tiger Woods, I don't think JT is purposely going out there to miss a cut at the Masters and not give himself a shot on the weekend. I guess it could happen.
I 100% agree with you. No way. No shot, no nothing. No backdoor money, no jet. Hey, I'll let you use the jet. No, those conversations don't happen. I will point out something. So I was going back here to look at this Justin Thomas because I wanted to look at the final scorecard. So I went on the Masters.com, right? And I brought it up, and on the big leaderboard, I just clicked it. It brought me to his final round. And you can go click hole by hole, and they will show you the video shot by shot of every shot that he made on that hole. That is some next level crap right there. Holy moly. Yeah. But to your point, I remember when he was on 18 and he was +3 at that point. And the announcers are talking about that he doesn't know he needs par here. because at that point, +3 still would have got him in. He was under the impression he still needed to birdie the hole. That's what they were talking about. So that's why he was kind of playing more aggressively. And then from his, like you said, his first shot that goes way, way left here. And then, his second one, actually his let's see, where's his second shot at? No, his first shot is right down the middle, but it barely.
I thought his first one was left.
No, it barely made the fairway though, because it was raining so hard. Like it barely made it. He had a 3-wood into the second. Oh, dude, it's just. Yeah, his second shot is what he just completely yanked left. But he had such a long shot to get in there, and then he didn't get up and down there. But yeah, that is quite the conspiracy. But to watch, guys, if you missed any of that stuff, that is just an absolute amazing feature. It goes shot by shot, and to see the shots that he's hitting in that complete downpour, wow! I
saw Colin Morikawa just tweeted out, and he said, well, it's a sad day. This is what he tweeted yesterday. He goes, it's a sad day. He goes, 359 days until I can download the best app on whatever, the App Store again or whatever. Talking about the Masters app.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. He's just like, it's like literally, especially for the golfers. And JT, honestly, this past weekend was kind of live tweeting a lot of the stuff that was happening. And everybody's like, dude, he's going to be the best commentator when it comes to golf in terms of.
I did see somebody needs to sign him for a job, but that is absolutely amazing to have every single golfer in there, have it cataloged by every single shot that they've hit throughout that, and wow.
Why can't they do that for everything?
Well, I would imagine that they don't have as many cameras, but I mean, I don't know. But let's end the Masters on a sad note. We talked about El Tigre making the cut. Keeping the consecutive cuts going along. It was funny. Freddie Couples said, Tiger just won't let me have anything. Because he's now tied with Freddie Couples. He goes, just let me have one. But obviously, we all know Tiger's not going to let that happen. It was pretty painful to watch him out there, to be perfectly honest with you. It doesn't look like he should have been out there. It looked like he definitely pushed himself. The shots, I mean, his drives were okay. His irons were pretty off. We saw some scary shots out of him, 18 at the bunker when he had that right leg planted that we talked about. But, towards the end, we were talking on the group chat, he just needed to withdraw. Like,
I didn't want to see him out there.
Nobody wanted to see that anymore, As somebody who's withdrawn from a few golf rounds in my life as well due to injury, it's just not fun to watch somebody struggle like that, especially someone like him who was obviously the best player in the world for so long. The big question that we have now is how many more times are we actually going to see Tiger out on the course? Because, he felt relatively good, he said, coming into this. And, what we saw, there's not much left in the tank from what I can see. Hopefully he gets better and he's able to come out, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So it's very different the way that he looked at Riviera compared to the way he looked here. I do think that he will continue to play competitively, at least for Masters rounds. Now, the Masters is a tough course to walk around, absolutely. But I do think we will see him back here, too, just to, if not anything, he wants to break that record, right? He's tied for it now, but we know Tiger. Tiger wants to break the record. He doesn't want to tie the record with Freddie and I forget who else it was. I think there's 2 people tied at 20. But Tiger wants to break that record, And so I'm sure we'll see him back at the Masters. I think he'll wait until he's perfectly healthy and the weather is cooperative. I thought we talked about the weather was going to be terrible for him this week. Especially we know, you wake up sometimes in the morning, you're like, oh, it's going to rain and it's going to be cold. My knees hurt. We're at that age, and he's at that age and been through so many surgeries and so many things that have gone on, and his body's broken down on him that, and obviously almost losing your leg, is tough as well, too. So we'll see. I think he does play in majors going forward. I think we will see an extended break for him here, at least a month, maybe a month and a half.
I'll say it's even longer.
I'm not sure when the next majors. I don't know if Tiger really cares about PGA championships, right? Like, I could see him skipping the PGA Championship forever going forward because who cares? Unless it's just a course that he loves and sets up perfectly to his eye. Other than that, I only see him playing the other 3. I see him playing the British. I see him playing the Open. I see him playing the U.S. Open. And I see him playing the Masters going forward every year because he has, invites for the rest of his life. and we'll see what happens when he plays those tournaments.
Yeah, I agree. I think the weather definitely had a factor in it. I don't think it had a huge factor in it though. I just think it's just his body's just not used to this, right? I mean, he's out there hitting shots, but I mean, are you really out there walking? You know, how many miles a day, and doing the twists and stuff? I don't know. We'll see.
Sure he is.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's many stairs on his yacht, but you never know. There could be. I don't know. We'll see. Unfortunately, like I said, he had to withdraw, but it was something that we all wanted to see, which is kind of weird. We did want
Did
to.
he do a lot of media at all?
I didn't
when
see
he was
anything.
there? I didn't see any, right? And I know he skipped the part 3. I know everything that's going on with him and his ex right now too. Not Elin, but the restaurant manager. I don't know whatever her name is. The chick that was around for a little while. I know there's a lot going on there too, and
Hey, baby. Hey, let's go on a vacation. I'll meet you at the airport.
conveniently slide out. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Left Tiger though.
God bless you. God bless you, my man. Keep living your life. Hopefully you recover and get up. Now, the last thing that we did have in golf news is Will Zalatoris had a withdrawal. I do believe early in the first round. I'm not 100%.
Before the first round started.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he played a little bit, didn't he?
I don't think he played.
Jeremy, did he actually tee it up? But anyway, we just got notification that he is out for the year. No, he did not. He had back surgery. It looks like microdiscectomy.
I think I have one of those coming up scheduled for sometime in July.
Yeah.
Or is that not what I'm thinking?
I don't know what you're thinking. But to me, this would be a surgery. Oh, no, that's a... Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I see.
A microvasectomy?
I did not say vasectomy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a surgical procedure to relieve the pain and symptoms of herniated disc and spine, yeah. So basically what's going to happen, I actually was recommended for this as well. Basically what they do is they go in and they shave the disc that's hanging out of your spine, so it can't touch so it can't touch your nerves and stuff. That one is still relatively decent. I am surprised he's going to be out for the entire season, though. I thought that was only like a 3 to 6 month recovery time versus like a back fusion, where I remember what the doctor told me. He goes, I can do this surgery and fuse these discs for you, but you'll never swing a golf club again. And I was like, you know what? I think we're okay.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
I think we're all right.
Yeah.
But hats off to Will. Hopefully, quick recovery. Get back out there and tour.
And listen, bro, you got some time without swinging a golf club. Why don't we hit some putts, please?
Work on your short game.
It's just been abysmal this year, bro. Not that it was ever good, but if you don't come out of this with some semblance of a putting stroke, homie, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, this is God's gift to you right now.
You can hit the ball, but you can't putt for the dough.
You can't putt. You can't putt.
Well, moving on, we got some NFL news. And shocker, who is it but the Baltimore Ravens once again?
Lamar Jackson signed.
No, it is not Lamar Jackson. The Baltimore Ravens have signed Odell Beckham Jr. to a 1-year, $15 million guaranteed, $18 million incentive. Without knowing who's throwing him the ball. So my biggest question is, if I'm OBJ, right, and obviously I just want to get paid at this point, and let's be honest, he's looking to get a little bit of money. He doesn't necessarily, he just won a ring with the Rams a couple years ago. He's looking to get back in the league. Getting back in at $15 million is a very, very good market for OBJ, who hasn't played in a year and a half or a year. But I would just love to know what was in that room, sitting around the table with your agent, whatever. And they're like, hey, this is what we want to offer you. The question had to be asked by OBJ is, who's throwing me the ball? Or does it not even matter at this point? It's just $15 million, good to go. I don't care. I
think $15 million is good to go, and with a hope for 18 if you make the incentives. It does cost a lot to charter flights, especially when you can't fly commercially anymore for getting kicked off of flights. So I'm sure he really does need the money probably right now as well, too. Listen, I personally would hate it. But if you're a Ravens fan, now you look at it, right? Let's say I have Rashad Bateman, I have Odell Beckham Jr., I have J.K. Dobbins, I have Mark Andrews. If you can get Lamar Jackson back, that is a ridiculously talented, front right there. Now, their defense is going to be lights out next year. Let's just go ahead and say that as well, too. So as long as you can minimize turnovers. Always had a good defense, minimize turnovers. And we always say this, too, right? It's not tricking if you got it, okay? And obviously the Baltimore Ravens have it. So they have the money to throw down, to spend. Go spend it. Get your guy a weapon. Maybe this kind of tries to soothe things over with Lamar a little bit more. from his demands and his trade demands, and you try to work on something long term here, or at least get something done short term, and go at it next year and see what happens.
So do you think that the relationship is there, that they can still salvage it and Lamar can still go back to the Ravens?
Everything is always salvageable, Tyson. It just depends on how many concessions you'd like to make.
Really?
Short term wise. Now, there are some things that'll never be salvageable long term because you won't be able to make that many concessions regardless. But let's say, for instance, you and your girl are fighting, right? And you make 10 concessions to her, Listen, I'm so sorry this happened, blah, 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 blah. Let's make up. Let me do this and this and this. Cool. Like, short term, you might be okay. Long term, you're never going to have that trust because there's always going to be something in the back of somebody else's mind.
Well, let's substitute 10 with unlimited because, as we all know, that's what...
Well, I'm just throwing a random number out there, but I'm saying, yeah, that's like the same mindset, right? Like, we will mentally, make these concessions and do whatever we can to make sure that we keep that intact. But at the end of the day, if the relationship's broken, it's going to be broken. You're never.
I think it's
get
broken.
Back
Yeah,
what you had after a certain moment. So, if you're the Ravens, yes, let's go out. Let's get Odell. Let's make sure that you're taken care of. Listen, we might. Well, let's just get this We'll give you 1 year, $50 million for right now. Let's just go forward with this. We'll try to work on a long-term deal. Whatever, doesn't matter. If they can just get him there, try to get another Super Bowl out of this push, and then figure everything out, I think that's kind of the route they're taking. And they also came out and said they're not averse to taking a quarterback in the first round. I'm not sure what pick the Ravens have, but that is also going to put other teams on the radar as well too when they come out and say something like that. So,
I don't know. I still have the hot take, bro. I still have the hot. He either plays for the Ravens or he doesn't play for anybody. And I think you won't see anything done with Lamar till after the draft. And then I think that even
or
then,
draft night maybe.
Ravens are 22nd, so
22nd. Yeah. So
I don't know who's there, but
I know AR is meeting with the Panthers today. CJ Bryce Young tomorrow. CJ Stroud.
We got all those are gone. I mean, at 22, the only one that
Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, a Hendon Hooker. You know who you like. Little Bennett action, huh? Little Stetson Bennett down there at 22. He'll be there.
Bennett?
He'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be there the 22nd pick in the 4th round too. So I think I'd wait till then and go ahead and draft him in the 4th round as opposed to the 1st. But whatever you want to do.
Hey man, his stock is rising. Yeah, it's so draft day is on April 27th. A lot of stuff coming up from that. We're hopefully gonna, as 17 days away. That chatter is just gonna continue to heat up. Looking forward to see what happens. But yes, Baltimore continues to be in the headlines. We continue to talk about old Baltimore.
And I do think there is a certain aspect of this as well too. This is a very weak wide receiver draft this year. I don't think there's a lot going on in terms of who teams have guys graded. I think I saw a report that most teams have a consensus. There's only one guy with a first-round draft grade this year in the draft, and so because of that, I think
is that the kid from Ohio State?
Yeah, Jackson Smith Ngiba. I don't know how to say his last name, but that kid.
Yeah. The kid from Ohio State.
Yeah, the kid from Ohio State. Number 11 from Ohio State. But yeah, I suppose like next year's draft is going to be loaded wide receiver. But this is also a reaction of, listen, this is what we have to work with. This is what we got to do to make sure we compete and we put decent weapons on the field as well.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes out. So, NBA, we have set the playoffs finally. We are ready to rock and roll. We have some play-in games starting on Tuesday, April 11th. We have Atlanta versus Miami. We have Minnesota at Los Angeles. We have Chicago at Toronto and Oklahoma City at New Orleans, and these are the initial play-in games. It was funny to me that the Los Angeles still is in the play-in tournament, which I thought that they got a potential to get to the number 6 seed. As I was watching their last game against the Utah Jazz.
Oh God, we're gonna go here.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry, but like I'm watching this game. I'm watching it in real time, and LeBron hits a 3 with I don't know, like a minute to go, and he's pedaling down the end of the court, and he crowns himself king. He puts the crown on his head as if I am the king of the NBA. I shall not be stopped. You are my minions. Bow to the king. And you know what?
Maybe
First of
maybe
all,
he was
hold on.
making fun of his own bald spot. You know, the little bald spot at the back of his head. He was like, "Oh, look at this."
Hey man,
bald
shout out to that man for the hair that he's recovered. I mean, LeBron, hit me up, bro. Let me talk to your guy, because your hairline has been the greatest comeback of all time, in my opinion, and I will give you the GOAT on that. But yes, so we did watch LeBron crown himself into the playoffs. So we had some interesting matchups. You know, I'm going to start on the East side, which is where the Bulls are, and you know, after watching this and seeing, you know, they fell to the 10 seed in the playoffs, which means if they win out, guess who they play? The Milwaukee Bucks. To me, I fully understand what Dallas did now by just saying, you know what, we don't care if we're the 10 seed because we're not going to do anything in the playoffs. If we are the 10 seed, we're going to go up against the number 1 seed. We don't have any chance of doing that. So let's just improve our stock numbers a little bit, which they are being investigated on. But you know, can Chicago make it out? It's really a moot point at this. Maybe it gives them a little bit of a building blocks, but I'm telling you, if they get out of it and they face the Milwaukee Bucks, it's over. We all know that. There's no way that the Bulls are going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They are just on a completely different level right now. Giannis is playing out of his mind. Brook Lopez is one of the great feel-good stories of the NBA. Somebody's been around for a long time, but Brook Lopez is just continuing to light it up for the Milwaukee Bucks. They have great support pieces around them. Obviously, they have a superstar in Giannis that can literally take 3 steps and be from the three-point line to under the rim. And, you know, with the NBA's travels, I mean, that's just a great play. I don't see anybody beating the Bucks, especially this early. So kudos to Chicago, I guess, for making the playoffs and ruining some of your draft picks. Hopefully you win the 2 games, and then maybe you get to go up against the Milwaukee Bucks so you can see what exactly playoff basketball is going to be against the number 1 team. As far as the West goes, I mean, we're going to kind of get Minnesota at LA.
I don't know if you ruined your draft picks, though, because don't the Magic have your draft pick this year?
I don't know. It's we're just floating things at this point. We have Minnesota at LA, and I think that's going to be a very good game. I'm not going to crown Mr. James here.
Give me the Lakers. Give me the Lakers. You didn't see what happened yesterday with Minnesota? It's a broken locker room right now, bro. Rudy Gobert just punched Kyle Anderson on the sidelines in a timeout yesterday and got sent to the locker room, sent home, then group texted an apology to everybody on the team. I love the Timberwolves because I love Anthony Edwards, and I think the way they built that team with Mike Conley and Gobert at center and Karl Anthony Towns, and you got a guy like Kyle Anderson who plays great D, and they got some, you know, good 3-point shooter. Like, I love the way that they built that team, and I just, for some reason, it's just not working. Give me the Lakers against them on tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern, TNT.
10 o'clock Eastern. Lakers are favored by 7 in that one. You got, and then also you have the 7:30 game. You have the Hawks and the Heat. And the Heat are 5-point favorites here. I love
very interesting game to me though. And I listen. The Heat should win this game, but it will be a battle of wills, right? Miami just wants to slowly dribble the ball up the court, set up a half-court spot, get Jimmy Butler involved, a skip pass, whatever. They slow it. They have one of the worst tempos in the NBA. The Hawks are just go, 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 go. Trae Young, lobs, John Collins, highlight reel stuff. Give me the Hawks.
Really? It's definitely a tale of 2 different teams. You got the Hawks that like they're a little bit more faster, and then you got it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Joey did say that the Magic does have the Bulls' first round pick, so maybe that's why they're trying to get the worst pick possible.
Another thing too is like, we didn't compete with you guys to make that last playoff spot at the very end. Anyway, I do like. It's going to be a lottery pick though, because of where they finished for the regular season anyway. So the Magic will have 2 lottery picks, which is fine. Like I said, give me the Hawks over the Heat. Give me the Bulls over the Raptors.
Who are actually the dogs. The Bulls are 5-point dogs in this game.
Yeah, as they should be. Give me the Bulls over the Raptors. Okay, give me the Bulls over the Raptors, and then give me the Bulls over the Heat. I think the Heat do not make the playoffs. I think it's the Hawks and the Bulls going forward. Really? Hot takes over here for NBA.
Hot takes. I don't know.
Pelicans, Thunder, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care who wins that game because they're going to lose to whoever loses the 7-8 game anyway.
So we have the Lakers. So the Lakers will face the number 2 seed.
Yes, Memphis Grizzlies.
if that plays to that.
And it would be very interesting because then you have the Lakers playing the Memphis Grizzlies, who just officially ruled out Steven Adams for the playoffs. His MRI came back. He has been out for a little while, trying to work his way back. I guess I thought he had re-injured it, but I guess it's just a setback that happened in practice or something like that.
That's gonna be a big loss, in my opinion.
Huh?
I know you don't think that's gonna affect a lot, but I think that's gonna be a big loss.
I think it's a huge loss. What do you mean?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said it didn't.
Steven Adams?
Yeah.
No. I think Steven Adams is a huge loss for them. I think when you talk about, like, even going back to specifically playing against a LeBron James team. Okay, let's go back to the finals that LeBron won against the Golden State Warriors. And one of the reasons everybody said Draymond got suspended for that game, and that's the only reason that they came back. The reason they won is because Andrew Bogut went out, and they lost their rim protector. And LeBron, when he comes off that high pick and roll and gets downhill, having a rim protector there who can stay there and defend the paint is paramount to anything else. Because what happens is that if there's not a guy there, now everybody is rotating back. And LeBron's a smart enough basketball player where all he does is hit one skip pass, it's one extra pass, and it's a wide open corner three every single time. And so when you lose a rim protector like this, and you have to go against a guy like LeBron James, who attacks the rim as hard as he does, it's going to make it very, very difficult. The three-point line will be the key in this series when it comes to Lakers, Grizzlies. And also, listen, Ja Morant's always going to be the X factor, right? But will LeBron step up and say, you know what, I'm checking Ja. I don't care. I mean, you're going to have Anthony Davis is going to kind of cancel out Jaren Jackson Jr. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. will probably get in a little bit of foul trouble. AD's a really tough matchup because they're both tall, lanky, and he does defend well. But I think AD will be a nightmare of a matchup for him. I want to see LeBron step up and really – they have a chance. They can make a run. The Lakers can make a run. They are set up to make a run with the additions they made, D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt. I don't know if Bamba's playing, but the way Austin Reeves has been playing out of his mind, I think the Lakers have a legitimate shot to make a run. I probably will be taking them to win the NBA championship this year.
You think LeBron's going to guard Ja Morant?
I think he should at least step up and at least come with some kind of something. I think the Lakers – I think it'd be good for the Lakers to see him step up in that role.
Do you think he can guard him?
Yes.
Do you think LeBron James can shut down Ja Morant?
I didn't say shut down.
I'm
There's
asking.
no shutting down Ja Morant.
That's a question. That's all. You're not backed into a corner here. There's nothing going on.
Okay, there's always a hidden agenda, and you are 100% not trying to not back me into a corner here. And then
No. We're all friends here. We're all friends here.
Nobody's arguing that.
You just said
Nobody's
that.
arguing the fact.
You just said that you would like to see LeBron James guard Ja Morant. So
I would like to see him step up and take on that.
The point of being the best basketball player in the world should be able to have a great impact on somebody that if you choose to guard that. I don't think he'll guard it, and I don't think he'll guard it.
They'll probably be Vanderbilt. They'll probably double him, but Desmond Bane will be dangerous from three-point land in that series, and we'll see how it works out.
I just think he won't guard him just for the fact that he doesn't want to be worn out for the entire game. Because if he guards Ja Morant, he's going to be tired. He's going to be tired, but we'll see. So, we got some NBA starting up tomorrow night. We'll see how that gets going. Quick little couple topics here before we get off the MLB. The Rays, my pick out of that are starting out 9-0.
I don't know.
They did play some bottom feeder teams here, but I'm going to go.
Their schedule is terrible. I think they start wins this week too, or something like that.
I think they played Detroit, the Nationals, and who was the other one? They played some bottom feeder teams. Let's just say that. But still, even bottom feeder teams win every once in a while. So it is what it is. But kudos to the Tampa Bay Rays. In other news, out of Chicago, Jameson Taillon is not looking like the pickup that the Cubs wanted, boasting a wonderful 7 ERA with a 1.67 whip at a nice 4-year, $68 million deal. I was talking to my father about this the other day, and I said, you know what really concerned me about this is if the Yankees aren't willing to pay somebody, there's something wrong. They're not at the height of their game. Because let's be honest, if this dude is pitching at his highest level and has no underlying issues, the Yankees are going to pay him. I mean, so the fact that they let him go just shows you the fact that he wasn't at the top of his game. Now, maybe that was just something that the Cubs thought that they saw that maybe a pitching coach could come up to. It is a long way to go, but early reports are terrible signing out of this, especially, again, at $68 million for 4 years, but we shall see. The Cubs are going to come.
It's pretty incredible when you look at the Braves, right? 2 of their 3 series have been against the Padres and the Cardinals, right? And the Rays just have nobody they're playing right now. And the Braves have a few injuries as well too. There's a big play at the plate a couple days ago. Travis d'Arnaud to the injured list. They have also sent Michael Harris to the injured list as well too. We also have who else? Somebody else just went to the injured
list. Was that the
well,
play with the collision at plate where the guy fractured his ankle?
No, that was O'Neal Cruz or Cruz. I don't know if I forget his name.
That
O'Neal
play,
Cruz, I think.
That play really I didn't really understand that thing. Well, yeah, the catcher got his panties up in a bunch.
That was Pittsburgh.
And honestly, if O'Neal Cruz, and honestly, if I was that runner, I would have plowed him. I mean, he was absolutely in the middle of the plate, and he didn't. And he actually tried to hold up and move his course, and that's how he basically fractured his ankle. The guy's laying there with the fractured ankle, and the catcher's going to turn around and talk shit. Like, bro, dude's
in the moment you don't know that his ankle's broken.
He's laying face down, screaming. I mean, he was pounding it, but regardless, he didn't even touch him.
Yeah.
Like if you're turning around like that, I'm thinking about the old days, man, where you had AJ Pierzynski and AJ Barrett and those guys just barreling down on there, and I know that they took that out of there. But at the same point, if you're just going to block the plate and block the run line, you're going to get hit. And the fact that they don't think that they are. So where is a guy supposed to slide if you've got your legs straddled the line or even close to the line? Am I supposed to go way out, and then try to slide and get my left hand in there? I mean, give me a break. But the fact that I thought it was really funny, the fact that guy turned around like he was, going to hacksaw Jim Duggan somebody over a guy that's literally laying there. Yeah, over a guy that's literally laying down there in writhing pain by trying to avoid not cleaning your clock. To me is the epitome of baseball and baseball fights, where you have a lot of pushing and a lot of jawing, but nothing ever happens unless you're Nolan Ryan. Shout out to you, my man. Closing up, just want to give a little shout out. We are getting towards the end of the NHL hockey season. Just want to give a shout out to my wife's team and my in-laws team, the Boston Bruins, who are setting a league record with 63 wins and counting. They do have, I think, 2 or 3 more games to go. But congratulations to Boston. You're having an absolutely record-breaking season. We'll see how that translates into the playoffs. It usually doesn't go very well if you're the best team going into the playoffs, but we shall see. So hats off to the Boston Bruins and what they continue to do out there on the ice. Looking forward to some hockey playoffs, and we will be talking about hockey playoffs when that starts. And if you don't watch NHL and you don't watch hockey playoffs are some of the best action in sports. It's fast, it's hard, it's absolutely amazing. So if you don't, we're going to get you into it, and that's all.
I'm a casual, and everybody's like, "Oh, who's your hockey team?" And I grew up in Florida, and I guess I would say I'm a Lightning fan, but not being an actual Lightning fan. And they're so good, I don't want to claim them. So I will root for the Lightning, but I will never celebrate a Stanley Cup like others who deeply, genuinely care about the sport do. And so for that reason, I cannot call myself an actual fan of the team.
Should have been an Atlanta Thrashers fan.
Could have been, but the Thrashers weren't even around back when I was young. The Thrashers are a more recent organization, I'm pretty sure. Go ahead, look it up.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The Panthers, the Panthers and the Lightning were both there, but being born in Tallahassee, you tend to not root for anything Miami.
99 to 2003? No, to 2011.
2011, the Thrashers started.
No, that was the final season. They started in 99. 97. I'm sorry. Greatest franchise, 97 is when it started. 97.
Okay. 1997. When did the Lightning start?
Well, we're not talking about that. I mean, you're a Braves fan, right? So obviously you have ties to Atlanta.
But I moved from Tallahassee when I was 9 years old to Orlando. That's when the Atlanta affiliation. You're talking about 1994. You know what I mean? I wasn't gonna. I'm not hopping onto it. Yeah. Anyway.
So they are now the Winnipeg Jets. Wow.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I just have a really good buddy that lived in Atlanta and is from Atlanta in the Midwest, and he was so excited when they came and then they left, and he was so pissed. Shout out Scotty Black if you're listening. It was a good time. But yeah, I think that you can claim Tampa. And let me tell you why. Obviously, I claim a little bit of this team here, the Bucks, and obviously I've been down in Florida now for I think 13 years. There comes a point in time, especially if you don't have a team. All right, now, if you wanted to go along the theme of, I need to pick a team, but I'm not, you could have went with the Panthers a couple years ago, and they were absolute dog shit. Now they're one of the best teams in the NHL as well. You have two of the best teams sitting here in Florida, so I don't think that you can. Jeremy, he can absolutely claim Tampa if he wasn't there for the lean years.
This is. I don't even want the argument from you hockey diehards. It's not even worth it to me. Okay.
No, because here's the deal. It's like you're not walking around, right, with a Tampa Bay Stanley Cup hat on. You're not walking around with the shirt, the shoes. You're not over there talking about, there's levels to this shit, right? There's levels to this stuff. Just like when I go to a Bucks game, what jersey do I wear? I wear Kyle Trask because that's my tie, and how I became into the Bucks is that. Now, on the same token, I've also been down here for 13 years. I've been following the Lightning for quite a while. I went to the Stanley Cup when they played the Blackhawks. I go to a Lightning game every year when they play the Blackhawks. I've been following for 10 years. They're, if you want to call it, my secondary team. Now, again, like you just said, am I going to be going around wearing a Tampa Bay Lightning Stanley Cup t-shirt? Absolutely not. But I can still have an affiliation towards the club without feeling the passion. And as we know, you are a paper fan anyway, so I think that's right along your lines.
Yeah, but I'm a passionate paper fan about my teams, and I'm saying I'm not passionate about the Lightning, so I'm not going to claim.
It's because you're passionate about hockey, but you're not passionate about hockey.
I'm not passionate about hockey. No.
Correct. So therefore, how can you be passionate about a team if you're not passionate about the sport? I think that's why you're fine to root for the Tampa Bay Lightning and be perfectly fine with that.
To me, hockey is
easy.
Hold on.
Easy.
I'm watching the bars on my video connection right now. All right, we're good. To me, hockey is probably one of the most skilled sports that there absolutely is. And if you get a chance to go to a game and watch the speed at which these dudes play, how hard they hit, I can't even freaking ice skate, dude. Like I can, but
I can't stop.
It's
or go backwards.
It's sketchy is the word I'm looking for. It's sketchy when I'm ice skating, okay? I can't even ice skate. These dudes are skating, stopping on a dime, not to mention handling a stick and a puck that's going. How fast do they hit these pucks at?
Fast.
Give me a miles per hour.
I don't know, 80.
Jeremy, you watched the skills competition.
I'd say 80.
What was the?
It's been Bobby Boucher. I think hit 100. Over 98 is what he says. 98 miles an hour.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. 98 miles an hour.
That's why a lot of them don't have teeth.
Well, yeah, that, and they also get to fight too, which is cool.
They do get to fight. But yeah, to your point, if you have it, and if you're looking to get into hockey, not only is the regular season fast, but wait till the playoffs. The playoffs are 2 times as fast.
It's more insane.
It's going to be great. Well, that's going to do
it. Pins and needles because it goes to OT, and then it's like next goal wins. It's just like the thrill factor of it is insane, dude. It's a great watch. I love watching hockey playoffs.
Shootouts are awesome. But there's no shootouts in playoffs, but the shootouts are awesome. Well, that's going to do it here for the Uninformed Fan on a wonderful Monday. Hopefully you guys have a great start to your work week, or if you're finishing up in your weekend warrior, hopefully you enjoy your Friday and get into your weekends. We're going to be back with you again on Wednesday. We're going to talk a little bit of the NBA playoffs. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then. Will Lamar sign? Will he not? We will hang on pins and needles until we figure it out. But until then, we will see you guys later. Everybody have a blessed week.
Be great. Gap Wedge Wednesday recap.
That's on Wednesday.
Coming on Wednesday.